Hey folks, Pallet here, back with another Minecraft video. If you've been to my channel before, welcome back. If this is your first time here, welcome in. We're going to take a look at some of the things I've been building over the last few weeks in my walled village project. The first one, and we're going to try to hit these in chronological order of when I worked on them. The first one was a new house, just a nice little residence here. If you've watched some of my earlier videos, you may remember that there was part of the original village wall that went right along this slope. In fact, you can still see the edge of it right over here. And it went all the way over to this wall, and this section over here was the original village. And as I've played and expanded things out, I keep pushing that wall out further. So I finally figured it was time to take this little interior section of wall down and open this up. Once I opened it up, of course, I had a bit of empty space here before we get to the pond, and I wanted to have, I don't know, a little more individualized housing than some of the row houses that I've got on this end of the village. So I laid out a basic floor plan with the foundation down here, and went for kind of an L-shaped house, which laying out the foundation, getting the walls up, that wasn't the tough part. The tough part, and I don't know why it caused me so much trouble, was getting the roof the way I wanted. If you notice the roof up there, it's nothing fancy. It is a basic roof, but I must have built and torn this down 3 or 4 times before I finally got it looking the way I wanted it to look. We've got, of course, the main peaked roof here, and then the little piece, little roof here that comes out on the shorter arm of the house. There was just something about this right here. I don't know that I'm 100% satisfied with it yet, but overall, I do like it. I like the general shape of it. There are a couple of details, like right in these corners, that I may want to play around with still. But overall, I think this roof turned out really well. I kind of like the contrast between the edging and the main roof. And then I tried to do a little bit of kind of inlaid wood detail up here. Tried to carry some of that stone brick detail down on the side and the back, just to tie that into the roof a little bit. And then when we come inside, I gave it a nice colorful door, so it's easy for people to tell their neighbors, oh yeah, I'm the one in the house with the pink door. So we've got just a little kitchen here, a little bit of storage, very basic house, nothing really fancy down here. Got a little bit of storage under the stairs. We come up the stairs, we have a nice big bay window looking out over, well, the cemetery. I guess that's kind of a view. A couple of paintings on the wall. We've got a small little sleeping area back here with a little bit of a privacy screen, not terribly private, and a wardrobe with plenty of storage. And then up here in the loft, we have a nice large double bed. And then in our wardrobe, we have a secret little cubby back here. That's where you can keep the person that you're just a little bit embarrassed of having in your house. You can just tell them to hide back there. So yeah, that project, which I had hoped was going to be a really quick project, just in and out, get it done in a session, I had to come back to that one 2 or 3 times just to get that roof looking right. I had something I thought I really liked to begin with, something that I thought was going to work, and let's say looking from this angle, it looked great. But then coming over here to this side and looking up, something was horribly wrong with it. The angles just didn't work out right. I can't even explain what went wrong, but yeah, I just was not happy with it when I viewed it from different angles. And so as I've been learning to kind of come up with my own builds and not rely so much on tutorials, I've been starting to learn that the way something looks maybe from a bird's eye view, looking straight down, or just straight on from the front, isn't the whole story in the build. And sometimes I need to just do a full 360 run around it and check to make sure all of the angles look the way I want them to look. So anyways, just part of that process of learning and developing those talents. The next thing that I built was over here. Now, I haven't included this this area in the village yet. I've still got it completely walled off, and that's because I'm not sure it's as spawn-proofed as I wanted it. But considering some of the building projects that I had in mind, that I've got a whole list of things. I knew I was going to need a lot of stone. And while coming in here and carving stone really doesn't take long, it is one of those jobs that I just have to keep coming back and doing. So I found a tutorial by Shulkercraft for an easy cobblestone farm. Now the basic idea of this cobblestone farm, it works off of two things. It works off of how cobblestone is generated when lava meets with a waterlogged block, and then it's also based off of a TNT dropper. So the full redstone is still a little bit of a mystery to me. Even following the tutorial, I get the general idea how it works. There are a few things in there that I'm still taking baby steps, trying to figure it all out. But the general way that this works is we've got these columns of leaf blocks that are all waterlogged, and then diagonal from each one of those is a column of lava source blocks. When the TNT duper runs, it drops TNT down into this area, and that down there is also a waterlogged leaf block. And as you may know, in the more recent versions of Minecraft at least, when TNT explodes, it will blow up everything except waterlogged blocks. So TNT drops down onto that, it blows up, and it blows up all of the cobblestone that is formed. And as soon as the cobblestone is blown up, the lava starts to flow out again, hits these waterlogged blocks, and forms new cobblestone, and then another TNT gets dropped. All of that flows down this direction and into these chests. And it is a loud farm. It is the type of thing that I can run it for a moment here. I hope I can run it. There we go. That's it. And we're going to step back. And you'll see it just, it'll run that way for as long as I need it to. We're going to shut that off. One of the things you have to be a little bit careful about is that the switch to turn it on and off is within the blast radius of the TNT. And now I've got enough armor on that it doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but you will take a little bit of damage if you stand right up next to it. So rather than having to climb up the ladder to reach the switch to turn it off and taking a little bit of damage from the TNT every time, I just made a nice little gantry up here where you can walk, flip it, and step back and hopefully not take any damage. But then, yeah, see the cobble is flowing in. And I haven't really run this for more than a few minutes total. But you see, we do have quite a bit of cobble in there already. Now, I have a few other small redstone, kind of redstone machines that I've built before. One of those, of course, is a smelter. I don't really want to call it a super smelter, but it's in fact, I've just got it right over here. It's a fairly straightforward smelter. You put things into the chest, it drops them into the two furnaces, and then just smelts everything and drops it down in here. And you can see I've taken some of that cobblestone already, and I've run it through to turn that into stone. And then, of course, I'll take that stone, turn it into bricks, whatever I need for larger constructions. And so I could tie in that cobblestone generator to where the one of the output chests feeds into a smelter like this. But then I would need to make sure that I have a way to keep the smelter, keep the furnaces fueled up. Well, over here, and I think I've shown this in a previous video, I've got a charcoal farm. You put logs in the top chest. Those logs feed down into this furnace where they get turned into charcoal. The charcoal then feeds into the droppers here, which send the charcoal back up to this chest, and then that feeds the charcoal back into the furnace. So it's kind of a self-propagating charcoal farm here. As long as I can keep tossing wood in the top, it'll keep making charcoal indefinitely. And then we get to the question of providing it with all of the wood, and we've got the farm that I showed off, I believe, in my last video, where, and that, I don't remember, that might have been another Shulkercraft one. I'd have to look at the signpost over here. Did I put the credit? Nope, that was an ENX of 4 design. So, you know, this farm generates plenty of wood, plenty of saplings, sticks, that sort of thing. And so I could tie all of those farms together so that all I would have to do is stand here, generate logs, and then feed that into the charcoal generator, have the charcoal generator feed into the smelter, and have the cobblestone generator feeding into that. I could make this a whole complex thing, and I just haven't gotten to the point where I need everything automated quite that much. For the time being, manually moving those resources around works out best for me. I'm going to... Looks like we're dealing with a little bit of lag on the server at the moment. I am going to sleep and let the night pass, and we are going to hop up into the Nether for a moment. Now, talking about farms and generating things, getting all the resources that we need, one of the things that I've been trying to do is eliminate some of the torch spam that I've got going on. As I wall in new sections of the compound, I want to make sure that no mobs can spawn within and cause trouble. I mean, it'd be bad enough having a zombie or a skeleton spawn in and start attacking my villagers. I do have iron golems that would take care of that. But what I really don't want are creepers spawning in and actually blowing up things that I've been working so hard to build. So I've resorted to just having a lot of torch spam around my compound, around the village, just to make sure that the light levels are high enough that nothing can spawn. But I want to get rid of that. I want to have lanterns, I want to have, you know, street lamps, that sort of thing, but those only go so far, and one of the techniques that I've seen that actually works really well in the village I have with the kind of the minimal landscaping that I've done, or the minimal terraforming that I've done, is to dig a hole in the dirt, plant down a shroom light or a froglight or something like that, and then cover it with moss carpet. And that'll still generate light for the area. It just won't be, it won't stand out as much as having a torch just sticking in the ground. So I have harvested shroom lights before. I do have a little farm set up there for growing the larger mushrooms and harvesting the shroom lights. The only problem with that is that you just aren't guaranteed that you're going to get a certain number of shroom lights with each one. Sometimes you'll bone meal a mushroom and you won't get any shroom lights. Sometimes you'll get 3 or 4. It's just kind of a real hit miss sort of thing, and it can take some time. So I wanted to maybe look into getting frog lights. And the first step of getting frog lights, of course, is getting frogs. So we're going to come over here. I had to travel a fair distance away from my main base to find a large enough swamp that it was generating plenty of frogs. And now things are not very polished around here. I kind of built just a quick and dirty camp where I could, again, have a little bit of a smelter working on some things. But I did catch a couple of frogs, and I built myself a frog farm. So we're going to come in here, and yeah, you see we've got quite a few of these little guys hopping around. And I have a few extra slime balls in here so I can breed some more if I need some. But once I got a pretty good, I don't know if you want to call them a herd or a squad of frogs. Once I got quite a few of them, then I transplanted some of their eggs to a couple of other biomes. So I've got a similar facility in an Arctic biome and one in a desert biome. And that way I have all 3 of the different frog breeds available. The Arctic biome is an easy one to get to from my ice highway here. And if you haven't seen one of these before, this is just using packed ice or blue ice. You only have to put one every other block. Your boat won't fall in between them, and it provides very fast transit on a nice level plane. This works really well somewhere like the roof of the Nether, where you don't have to worry about any hills or valleys or anything like that. You can just go in a straight line. So anyways, I have access to the swamp biome up here. I have an easy access to the Arctic biome, which is off relatively close in that direction. Pick up my boat. I always make sure I leave a few boats and mine carts here just to transit around. And then I built a nice little froglight farm. You can kind of see up in there, we have a few magma cubes that have spawned in. And this is over I believe, a basalt deltas biome. This is another farm by Shulkercraft, the All Colors Froglight Farm. Let me get away from those carts a little bit. So, if you're not familiar with froglights, a froglight is generated when a frog eats the smallest size of magma cube. Now we've got a little AFK spot at the top of this stack of scaffolding. Just gonna take some moment to get up here. I believe it was 114 blocks above the farm, above the top of the farm. And what that does is that allows the farm to be close enough to you to spawn things in, but nothing really any further down from the farm. Nothing down in the main biome of the Nether itself. So we come up here, and we don't have to, in my experience anyway, we don't have to wait very long. We'll just sit here for a minute, and then we can dive back out. And of course, I've got my elytra. You know what? Visibility is low enough at the moment with my render distance. We may just play this safe. And we come back down, and if we're lucky, in that short amount of time, we may have actually generated a magma cube. No guarantees, but we're going to come back down here. And yeah, I believe I see some magma cubes. So the magma cubes are too big to fit between these chains, so they will hop over until my iron golems can attack them. The iron golems will break them down into smaller magma cubes, which will fall through, and you see my frogs then eat the little baby magma cubes, and then they generate froglights. Let's see, there we go. They're getting eaten, and little froglights are being generated. So, once that's done, we have mine carts that are constantly going, these are hopper mine carts that are constantly going underneath, and they're picking up all of those cubes, all of the magma creams, and depositing them down in here. I spent maybe 5 minutes or so up there right after I built it, and I had full stacks, multiple stacks of froglights ready to go. And then the other evening, I spent just a little bit of time. I went through an entire stack of froglights, just lighting up a small section of my village, mostly in the original compound area where everything started. I was able to eliminate almost all of the torches that I had down on the ground. Now we're going to take a quick jog back to the compound, and I'll show you the last of the big projects that I've been working on. These have all been relatively smaller builds. They've just taken a bit of time. The frog farming was the most time-consuming, and that's basically because there's just a set amount of time you gotta wait for the frog eggs to turn into tadpoles, the tadpoles to turn into frogs, and so I was doing a bit of exploration while I waited for all that to happen, a little bit of resource gathering in the biomes where I had my frog farms. So it wasn't really wasted time, but it was one of those things where I just needed to multitask and make the best use of the time I had while I waited for the frogs. So we are just about back over here to my compound portal, and we're going to pop back through here. And we are in luck because it is almost sunset, and I know you've probably been able to catch some glimpses of this already. I just haven't been saying anything about it. I built a Christmas tree. Now, before it gets fully dark, I'm going to give credit where it's due on this one. This was from a design by Avomance for a working Christmas tree. One of the things that I liked about the tutorial for this was that Avomance pretty much taught you the general pattern for building the tree, but he made it so that you could expand it without any real difficulty. He showed you the ideas that he had for how long the branches should be in relation to one another, how they change, how they shorten as you go up, roughly how the redstone layout goes, so that you could make this as big or as small as you wanted. And I picked a size that kind of fit my space here. It's down in the main area of the village. That was one of uh, my key selling points. Is I wanted something right down here where it could actually be around most of my villagers. But I also needed something that would fit in the space, and the way he designed it as kind of a modular build worked out perfectly. Now, right under here is the switch that will turn it on, and I'm really going to hope, yes, that the redstone is has not bugged on me, and it doesn't look like it has. So now we have a Christmas tree complete with twinkling lights, and it sounds like we have a drowned underneath us that is making his presence known. So we've got twinkly lights, we've got colorful ornaments up in the tree, we've even got a little bit of snow down here, and a snowman to keep us company. And we've also got a little frog down here. A Christmas frog, maybe? I don't know. But he's here anyway. And then at the top, it may be a little bit difficult to see from down here. Let's see if we can zoom in on that. We have a golden angel on top of our tree. I had talked about multitasking earlier while I waited for my frogs to breed, and one of the things I did was I found some hidden treasure maps, some buried treasure maps, I think that's what they're called, in some pirate shipwrecks. So as I went to retrieve that treasure, I kept finding enchanted golden armor pieces, and I thought, I'm going to go ahead and take those, bring them back with me. I may have a use for them in the near future as decoration. And once I got the Christmas tree finished, I realized exactly what I wanted to do with those. So now this tree may not be here for forever, we're in the holiday season right now. We've got Christmas coming up pretty soon, and I just wanted to have I don't know, a little something holiday themed to give my villagers here and to spruce up my village. So we've got that. One of these days I may take it down and repurpose it for something else, or I could just do like some people do and leave their Christmas tree up year round. We will see as time goes on and as the build continues, but folks, that is what I've got for you in this episode. I think we've made some very nice additions to the village. Some of them are kind of functional things. They're hidden away, and some are quite a ways outside of the village. But we have at least added one nice new residence and some farms for resources that will make future building projects run just a little bit smoother for me. So I appreciate you joining me on this tour of my village. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, and that maybe I can just give you some ideas of things you might want to do in your own village. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.